You're so rigid. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Why are you so crazy? Why are you so crazy? Okay. There we are. There we are. What are you looking at? Thank you. Okay, here we go. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Run along. She was trying to jump out of my arms before we were near the ground. You know, as you do. Okay, hello, good morning. Hello and good morning. Where's my music at? Music, please. It's an ad.
Whataburger, please.
No, don't show me burgers. No, not the burgers. Okay, good morning. Let's do some more work on the attachment stuff. Last night, I got it into a pretty good state. Check this out. Okay, so they're all actors. Boom, now they're all instant static meshes with instant static mesh attachments as well. And they transition pretty seamlessly, I might add. Except for the, you know, they got like one frame of jitter that I still need to take care of. But other than that, you look at that. That's good, right? Like you wouldn't even be able to tell if they didn't change colors probably. And the shadows didn't go away. Okay, but this is only working for locomotion at the moment. So let's change that. Let's change that. Process entity instance. Yeah, okay, so here's where we're doing all the combat stuff. Okay, so I think what I need to do is I need to kind of functionalize some of this. Functionify. Functionify, if I may. So let's go here. Void, instant static mesh actor. Let's do process entity attachments. Copy all this code in there. Essentially all of that. Because we will need to pass in, I think what we need is U animation, U anim sequence for sure. Anim sequence. Next anim index. Yeah, no, that's gonna go outside. Let's say if boop. Yeah, that. Well, I guess I'm already like accessing it beforehand, so it's not actually doing anything, but we should. Pass in the entity. What else do we need here? Pass an entity, anim sequence. Transform data. Probably just get that from the entity so we can reduce the number of parameters here. And the anim sequence time as well. Anim time. Let me copy the transform data from up here. Read that. We need the entity, the end sequence, and the time. Entity needs to be dereferenced or depointerized. Okay, so we have this part for like processing the ability queue stuff. And then what? And then we return essentially. This will, let's put the ability queue stuff in here as well. So I know for a fact I'll need a my entity. Okay. Maybe all I need here. Actually, no, I need the index. Okay. Null muscle mass. I like that name. Been programming in C# for about 1.5 years and learned the basics of object-oriented programming. Very interested in learning C, C++. Any advice for transitioning languages? If you're wanting to learn in Unreal Engine, first thing you'll need to understand is that Unreal Engine C++ is quite a bit different than regular C++, to the point where skills aren't really that transferable. So I am doing Unreal Engine C++ here, and if that is what you're going for, I would recommend getting Rider, the JetBrains IDE. There's a free version out now. It is a massive improvement over Visual Studio and helps me learn Unreal Engine C++ a lot better, circa 2 years ago. So, is C# your first language? Is that your first programming language that you've picked up, or just one of many? I assume it's your first, because I don't think you'd be asking if you had picked up other ones. But I think you'll find when you learn other languages, you'll start to see the programming patterns and similarities between them, and then they just kind of become, a set of tools that you just kind of have to figure out how to use. So I always prefer to learn by doing. Like, I have done C++ tutorials in the past. I'd go through the tutorial, and it's like, okay, cool, I understand everything in the tutorial. I typed all the code out. A month later, I just forget everything because I'm not actually using it for anything. So I would say pick a project or something that you are interested in working on, and then just slowly figure out how to do each part of that project in the new language. And I wouldn't really bother with tutorials unless there's something in the tutorial that you need to know. And then I would do it. And then just kind of draw on what you know about C+ or C#. You know how to declare variables, you know what control flow statements are and stuff like that. So just kind of fall back to that knowledge, and then just try to search for how you do the same thing in C++. Get done what you need to get done. And then figure out how you learn best. Like I hate watching videos. I would rather read. because I can read at my own pace and I can search better. So I like to find sources that are on the internet, like in a readable format. So I can search them and find the piece of info that I need. I don't have to watch the whole video. So part of it is also learning how you learn best. And for me, that's learning by doing and learning from textual sources. And after that, you're off to the races. As for me, I need an instance ID. Why do I need that? Because I need the index. I might as well just pass the index in here. C# is my first language. Done it for a diploma programming course at college, and I'm looking to get a junior developer job. Just turned 18. I hate reading long text documentation. Yeah, totally get that. Also, never tend to understand anyone's explanations in programming unless I mess around with my code and try to break it. Essentially, just experimenting with the code. Yeah, for sure. Guess and check, try and fail, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you're just watching things, or even if you're just reading things and not actually doing what they're saying, then yeah, you're not going to get very much info from that. So yeah, definitely have your editor open beside you. Yeah, I mean, of course the AI tools and stuff are great, but I guess and this is advice that I wouldn't have had to have given, 5 years ago. But if you're doing, if you have like a Copilot, which I think is free now to a certain extent, or you're using ChatGPT or whatever, feel free if you get stuck and stuff like that. I would try first without it for a little bit. But by all means, yeah, try to learn as much as you can from it. Just make sure when you're accepting those Copilot autocompletes or the ChatGPT, copying and pasting some of that code, make sure you kind of go through it and break down what it's doing in your head. And like you say, try to break it, understand what it's doing, so that you can actually learn from it and not just copy from it, Blah, blah, dive in. I think that is his preferred method. Diving in. I've blocked all AI chatbots websites on my computer as I depend on it too much. Wow. Quite draconian, but I respect that. So you Stack Overflow and cry myself to sleep, but it's made me learn so much more. Yeah, Stack Overflow is a great resource. That's funny. Back in my day, we cried ourselves to sleep without ChatGPT. Without even Stack Overflow, really. You just find some old forum posts on some like random ass like tech website that doesn't exist anymore. What am I doing here? Is this all I need? I think that's all I need. Yeah, Elliot. Since you are Dr. Elliot, since you're not like a classically trained, Dr. Elliot's a pilot, which is fun. But how did you learn programming? What was your like method to learning it? Imagine writing assembly code in 1995 on a Pentium 3 or something like that. I had to do that for the brief stint at college that I did. It was fucking horrible. I had to write assembly code, and I was like, I had a I don't hate foreigners by any means, but like the teacher I had was very foreign, and I could not understand her very well. And yeah, I did not complete that class. I would like ask a question and just end up more confused. So yeah, I did a little bit of assembly language, a little bit of MIPS, and I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. And I dropped out of college. I learned it on my own. Just doing it, struggling through. Okay, but like, what? You're giving me a very simplistic take on it. You got to say like, oh, I you know, I would go try to look up a tutorial. I would try to do a little bit of the tutorial, apply it to a project. You know, I would pick a project and just try to like, I would just Google search everything that I needed to know. You know, what was the method? What was your struggle method? Dive in, Vulkan renderer game engine. Oh my god, you are giving me so little to work with here, Dr. Elliot. Like you don't. Fine then, keep your secrets.
All right then, keep your secrets.
I had to work with ESL, don't know what that is, who couldn't speak English for a shared PHP project. Yep, PHP, and she used ChatGPT for everything, couldn't explain her code to me. She even deleted my backend branch on GitHub. Oh, fuck. That's annoying, yeah. I started with one of my... Like, I started doing some websites, and PHP was like the first backend language that I used. I think, was Java the very first I ever did? I think Java was the very first I ever did. But as far as like web design and stuff goes, I did some PHP. And I was just writing it in text files. Like I didn't know, because I would just remote into the server, like just write directly to the text files. And yeah, my deploy process was Control S. Yeah. Wouldn't recommend it. Especially for PHP, when you're like echoing just strings of fucking HTML back to the client. Okay, so we want to do process entity attachments, entity IDX. What else did I need in here? Oh, that's, I wanted to do process entity ability anim. Yeah, I think I need to wrap this as well. Okay. Okay, so now we skip the locomotion stuff here. Process entity attachments. Okay, so I need like a... I guess I'll just copy and paste this, right? Oh my god, are you serious? Oh my god, I need to basically duplicate it. Yeah, this is going to change eventually anyway. Because I do want to blend the ability animations with the locomotion stuff. Eventually. It's going to be difficult, and I think I have to do that on the GPU anyway, but it will mean this changes. Okay, current anim. Yanafaru from YouTube. Doing a little cross-platform communication here. I will be your guide. Morning. My advice to the 18-year-old kid who wants to transition from C# to C++ is to write a simple application like an interpreter. Sir, you said simple? Sir? like an interpreter in C#, for example, and then try to write it in C++ as similar as possible. You know, if I were to pick a simple application, I would pick like a calculator or Kong, or like, you know, a clock in, clock out application. Now this guy's like, write an interpreter. It's simple. He's gonna be like, well, interpreters actually are really simple if you know what they are and what they do. Well, sir, that's where you assume that I know what they are and what they do. Okay, I have the current anim. Anim sequence base, which I don't think has the function that we need on it. Does it? Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Yeah, whenever I was learning Unreal Engine, yeah, circa about 2 years ago, I was trying to write a procedural terrain algorithm. I didn't know anything about game dev, Unreal Engine, or procedural terrain, so that was kind of a slog, or C++ for that matter. So I did find like a little tutorial in Unity for procedural terrain. So I just tried to follow that and do it in Unreal Engine. And eventually my project diverged way too much to even keep following that tutorial, but doing the same thing across 2 different languages is definitely an applicable move. Okay, so I have the anim frame. Now I just need to divide that. Get the time. Yeah, and I do need to, looks like I do need to cast it, yeah. Build a simple app like an interpreter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that that's simple. The guy's just giga-brained. Big-brained. Too big for me. Okay. Hopefully this should work now for the ability animations as well. Process ability. Okay, so now we just got to call it for both. Or no, we do. Okay. That happens internally, and then this happens here. Okay, let's rebuild that. Guy must have wrote an OS in assembly or something like that. Yeah, he came out of the womb writing code. Alright, we're memeing on you a little bit, Keanu, but your advice is appreciated. Okay. God, look at this kitty cat. Look at that. Look at this lion. The crazy looking lion. Okay. Now let's get some of these guys in combat and see what happens. So I need to go to my spawner and actually change the archetypes here. Okay, so we only have colonists. We need some enemies. Enemy warrior. Let's see if we can get 2. Let's just spawn 2 for now. See if we can get 2 opposite faction guys. Nope. Okay, try again. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's not working. It was working when he was dead. Okay, what's the deal? What's the deal here? It's not updating. Didn't realize you matched the vertex animation to the skeletal mesh already. Yeah, that was last night. Well, no, it wasn't. Last night I just got it to work better. Did that a couple days ago. But yeah, the thing I was fucking up on was because you can get the, like, I know what bone it needs to be attached to, right? Like, I know, like, the mace is attached to, like, hand R, right? And so you can get that from the animation sequence that's, like, currently playing, right? So I have a blend space that's being sampled in C++ here. And then I just kind of calculate a looping frame rate for those locomotion animations. And so I can get the current anim sequence and the current anim time. And then I can actually get the bone, like the hand R bone transform from the animation sequence, like at that time in the animation. And of course that's that would be a parent bone space relative transform. And the part I was fucking up on was right here. So when you have to, like, walk back up the bone chain, you have to get all the parents until you run out of parents, and you have to accumulate all their transforms to get, like, the skeletal mesh relative hand R transform. And I was just adding those together. That's not what you want to do. You want to multiply them together, apparently. And so that was the trick. And I found that on a post on the forums. So after I did that, it all just got unlocked. And then this right here as well. So once you get, like, the bone transform, I have I pass in an offset here. And this is to handle things like sockets, because, like, sockets don't exist on the animation, the anim sequence. So, and you could potentially, like, these are actors that are attached to other actors, so you could potentially have, like, the static mesh be offset from the root component. So I need to capture that somehow, right? So, and apparently multiplying these in this order is important, right? Do the entity transform last. So this actually puts it in his hand, and then along with bone transform, and then the entity transform puts it in the right world location, basically making carnage. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And I did do the like, you can just bake the texture to the static mesh itself, and you can just have, or I say bake the texture, bake the animation to a texture for the static mesh itself. And I tried that. And so essentially, like, you just have the static mesh and it would just animate along with it on the GPU. But what that ended up meaning was that I also had to, like, bake in the offset before I baked the texture. So I had to change. Mesa normally is like that, right? You know, the origin is like the attach point. But then I had to, like, manually figure this out where it needed to go and then bake the textures. And I didn't want to have to do that for every single socket that this thing could be attached to. And I also had to take into account things that aren't static meshes that are attached to the character. Like, I have, like, a fireball FX that's attached to the character whenever they're casting. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do that same method. So I would have had to have done what I'm doing right now, which is for these, it'll just be creating an instant static mesh with that static mesh on it. And then just adjusting them every frame. So they are kind of, they're in the right spot. They're just not moving. So why aren't you moving? Let's check it out. Time 64. Okay. Oh, I'm not, I need to subtract from start frame. Yeah. Start minus this. Is that what I did? What did I do for that? Current frame minus start frame. Okay, okay. Okay, so now this should work. I think I may still do like this method where you bake it into the texture with equipment when I get there. I don't think I'm going to do it for weapons because I would have to create this, you know, offset static mesh once for each socket and then once for each weapon. So like 1, 2, there would need to be like, depending on how many places that it can be socketed into, like that many textures times that many static meshes. So it would be a lot. So I don't think for weapons I'm going to do that. But for equipment, like there really should only be one place that they get attached to. So that shouldn't be too bad. Okay, we're a little bit off. They are moving now, though. I guess I need to factor in the play rate as well. I should just do this, right? I already have the play rate in there. Then I do have the percent through the animation that I am. So I could just multiply that by number of sampled keys as well. See if this works first. Fine. Me too, fighty boys. What are the fucking odds here? What are the odds here? Oh my god. Oh my god, this is nuts. There we go. Okay, still off. And these guys aren't getting destroyed properly once again. So I think I have a reference chain that I need to break. Okay, let's just try, let's get percent through anim. I think that can actually be, I think that can actually be more than one. I think that can actually be more. Okay, so hang on, let me. Okay, so we're here. Time. Such a valuable thing. 1609, start frame, 1595, that makes sense. We subtract the 2. Yeah. Means the local frame is 15. What is get number of sampled keys? What property is that? Oh my god, okay, it's disgusting. Play length is just 1. Okay, so that actually doesn't matter for this one. Frame divided by number of sample keys times play length. I mean, that's the same thing I'm doing here. What would be causing the offset then? Yeah, you're just off. You're off just a bit there. You're off a lot there. The death one lined up better. Well, you know what we should do? Give me a... Not an enemy warrior. Give me the caster. Well, that one's not gonna... Enemy ranger? He's got two different ones attached. Okay, so his look good. I think maybe... Okay, I think the problem is that this one's a montage then, because that one looks good. Despite the fact that the two things are attached. Yeah, because the death one is a montage as well. Okay, I think that's the issue. I need some additional information from that montage. Which, where is that? Okay. Where is that? It's the it's in the ability then, I guess. Okay. Oh, I need all the curve info. Oh shit. Oh wait, it's all 0. Never mind. Okay, if it's all 0, what am I missing here? Is there like some root motion shenanigans going on here? I guess that's on the like the animation. Root motion. No, it's not enabled. Oh, but this animation has curves on it. Okay. So, Although I am just playing, like I'm not actually playing the montage. I'm just getting the animation from it. So why is that off then? It definitely has something to do with the montage. Or something to do specifically with this animation. Okay, let's give him not any abilities. See if he just does the normal swing. Entity, archetype, humanoid. Where's warrior? Yeah, you no longer have power slash ability. But yeah, no, you're just... Okay, so let's look at the difference between these two animations then. There's one. And there's two. Okay. The curves are not colored. There's one. I don't know if the curves matter though. I don't know that I'm evaluating the curves in the maybe I am in the actor version, but in the static mesh version I'm just playing the animation. Not even playing, I'm just sampling the animation. I think I see it. I think it's the FPS that's the issue, actually. Let me try something real quick. I'm gonna rebake them to 24 FPS and see what happens. So I have some mixed FPS anims baked into the textures, which is kind of a no-no, which makes some of them look weird. Oh, I didn't actually change it. I didn't change it, so that does nothing. 24. Okay. So now it's going to make the locomotion look a little strange, but we'll see if this is the issue. Okay. And you know, if you change textures in the engine, you have to rebuild the navigation, because that makes sense. Okay, now that one's off too now. Yeah, it's not even playing at the right... Yeah, now they're all off. Yeah, I really need them to be the same FPS. That's kind of annoying that the placeholder animations that I ripped from WoW are all 24 FPS. I wonder if I could re-rip those. Probably not. I don't think... I forget how I did that, to be honest with you. I know I had files somewhere on my PC for that. I think I can, like... I think I can see them all in here. Okay. Actually... Quick animations. Oh. I had to put these into Blender to like export to dance and shading. Does it tell me the base FPS here? Let me open like let me try to find the Blender file. Can I just open Blender? Does Blender open the last thing that you had in it? Recover last session. Cannot read. Oh, is it this one? Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to use Blender. How do I even move? How do I move? I don't even know how to move. Okay. Cursor. Move. Oh god. Oh my god, I forgot everything about what I'm doing here. If I could just like interpolate a few more frames onto this, that would be great. There's like this plugin to like export to Unreal. Start and end time. I mean, I could, I know how to use Cascadeur a little bit. I could put them into Cascadeur and add a few frames to get them to match up. But I don't want to have to fucking do that for every single one. I had to retarget them all to the ALS skeleton as well, which was a pain. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything to do with the frame rate or number of frames. Okay, something I'll maybe look into later. Yeah, I think that's probably the reason why. That's kind of annoying. So not doing 30 just made everything look bad. Let's go back to 30, so at least some of it looks okay. Okay, that still looks okay. Now I need to not attach the, oof. Yeah, because I just iterate over all their equipment and then attach it, so it's attaching both the bow and the fucking axe. Oh, managing that is gonna be a pain. It's all pain. It's all pain. This is a good, like, check-in. Let's commit this. Okay, so where do I want to go from here? Let me think. Yeah, there's definitely that bow slash axe both being equipped at the same time issue. What else do I need to do here? Oh, I need to do cast projectiles as well. I haven't tested those. Let's get that working first. So the weapon attachments are there like all the time. Well, I guess I need to attach and detach what they do. Mm-hmm. I need to properly handle this stuff as well. Yeah, I need to functionize this a bit. We're going to attach things willy-nilly. As for the cast projectile, yeah, I just see if there's a skeletal mesh and I attach it. So I'll need to have an else block here that checks if the entity is valid. On the caster, I'll have to cast. Yeah, let's just do that real quick. Else if entity interface. Okay, entity interface. Get entity if we're valid, and then we can. I guess I need a function to call to like attach something. So I think actually the functional right will solve both issues here. Do I have an entity subsystem already here? In the cast spell. Yeah, let's do that on spawn. Wait, where do I use that at? Oh, in the velocity interpolation? Okay. Let's do that on spawn. What data do I need here? I'll probably do this on the proxy actor is where I'll have the function, because that's proxy actor has access to all the components. Although I guess I don't necessarily need it to be on that class. It could be just on the attachment data. It could just be like more of a static function type thing. I think that makes sense because essentially we'd be adding it to our attached things here. Is that what I want to do? I think that's what I want to do. Let me take a look at the proxy actor code here. I would need the avatar data. This is specific to weapons, so I'd have to do this stuff first. Yeah, I think all this happens outside the function, and then this stuff is what happens inside the function. Static void, add entity attachment. And should I actually make this have a CPP file? Maybe just for iteration purposes, I think. I think so. So we have add entity attachment here, and we need kind of a lot of information. guess I need two different functions, one for actors, one for components. Maybe I should just write the code in here and see how it differs. I know, like, the end is going to be the same. This is all going to be the same. But it's not going to be a weapon. The weapon has get socket attached to. I know I have attached to socket, which is a F name. Yeah, okay, so I don't need that. Attached socket name is just attached to socket. So I can get the bone on the skeletal mesh for that one. I think the default is what? Spellcast? Yeah, spellcast. And then here I'm getting the static mesh. And I suppose this can either be a static mesh or an actor. Actor equals this. And I don't think we need any of that ever, actually, because we're not going to actually. We're not actually going to like do a static mesh, and the actor already has its like relative component stuff inside of it. This one is actually a lot simpler. Okay, let's change this to add entity actor attachment. And the first thing we need there is like actor. Need actor. What else do we need? Definitely an entity and an entity subsystem. Unless I should just pass everything in here. I would need the attached data. No, this can be, let's not make this static. Let's not make it static. Okay, so that gets like quite a bit more simple. And this would be skeletal mesh. Right. Okay. Kind of long. Ruskell Barbeg, welcome. I don't think writing an interpreter in any language from scratch is easy, let alone C++. Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier as well, Ruskell. I was like, yeah, he said simple, and then he said write an interpreter. Something doesn't match up here. Previous local declaration, what? Oh, up here. Is that really shadowing it? Yeah, he never responded to that accusation either, so maybe he was memeing. We memed on him quite a bit though, so don't worry. Don't worry, we got him. We got him. Okay, let's put the CDO in a variable as well. If we have an avatar CDO, wrap the rest of it like so. Scaly mesh, let's do a check here. If we don't have a scaly mesh, just return. Do nothing. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I suppose I'm going to be copying this code for any actor though, right? So maybe I can make this even more simpler. I was scratching my head reading that. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that, right? I got a little bit of imposter syndrome when he said that. I was like, should I know how to write an interpreter? Like, I've never done that before. I think maybe I should just pass the avatar data here as well. And then we can functionalize this a bit more. Should I forward? I think maybe forward declaring this. Well, no, it's a CPP file, so I can import this just fine. This should be fine. Okay, so now probably all this just goes in here. And then a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then I don't pass the skelly mesh in anymore either. Okay. If there's no avatar data or class, then we don't need the mutable version here. We can just do const. Okay. Okay. This is looking better. This is looking better. I think this will be a lot easier to use. Reusability. Honestly, I'm just going to inline that. Inline it. Okay. Okay, so let's write the equivalent function, but for components. And so I suppose we will be passing in... What are we passing in here? I would need to extract the weapon actor CDO. Oh, we have a response. Yano, state your defense. By crafting an interpreter, I should have went into more detail. There's a book called Creating Interpreters, which came to mind, which shows how to write one in high level and low level. By writing an interpreter. Yeah, that doesn't sound please me. glad you have a good attitude about it. Yeah, like what I said before is like when I think simple, like beginner, you know, something, I think like calculator app, you know, like that's beginner level for me. Interpreter, that's like, you know, I get that there's like a high level and a low level explanation in that book, but I don't think someone should have to go buy a book to get started, you know? Like I think they should just be able to like everyone knows what a calculator is and what it does, right? Not everyone knows what an interpreter is and what it does, even if you've been programming for a few years. I think either Pong or calculator app or like, you know, just like time clock app or something. Or what is it? What is the to-do list? Like the Hello World to-do list. Something like that. But I guess that those require like GUIs, right? So maybe that's you know, maybe just this, maybe like a CLI tic-tac-toe. You know, that's what I think when I think beginner level project to start on. Anyway, speaking of beginner level projects, let's go back to Vertex animated texture attachments. Something everyone should know how to do. So for the weapon, we would need to extract the static mesh component that we want to attach. But I guess the issue here is I also need its like owner component, its owner actor to get like, I will need the offset. Because that information will be lost when I extract this from the actor. You should try writing a simple app like a teleportation device written in brainfuck. Yeah, you know, as you do, the hello world of programming, the teleportation device. Yes. Okay, we're gonna copy all of this. Okay. At the very least, I will need a static mesh component. At the very least. These all change into returns. Attach data, we are in attach data, so we don't need that. Okay, weapon, actor, CDO. So let's replace weapon mesh component. Delete that. Delete. Then this becomes passed in. And then I guess we just don't even need the weapon actor CDO here. So I'm getting a lot of YouTube commenters today. That's interesting. Usually it's all on Twitch. I did, however, I just got introduced to the person responsible for the YouTube Live landing page interface in hopes that I can put some of my effort towards that at work. But she's out for... she's out until March. So, womp womp. Why did I tag myself? Because the YouTube live chat interface isn't the greatest. Okay. So this is kind of like the component version of it, I suppose. Let's make a constructor here that takes in a skelly mesh and an attach to socket. Then that way we can kind of do this part in there. Can I do that in there? Socket transform? Yeah. We can do the socket transform in there. Should I do that in there? Because the offset's going to be different for actors, and yeah, no, maybe this is moot. Maybe this is moot. Ignore it. Ignore it. Okay, let's just change the proxy actor over to use that. I need static mesh components. Avatar data. Yeah. Okay. We don't have either of those. Continue so we don't fucking shit our pants. Okay. Now we're a little prettier. Don't need this anymore. Don't need that anymore right there because we do that in here. Yeah, okay. Coffee. Okay. What is left to do here for this? Backup and sync failed. Ominous. I mean, I guess let's just rebuild and see how it goes. We'll see if it still works for weapons, and then we'll check and see if it now works for fireballs as well. I think for the fireballs, I wrote some code to like change their location already, so I think I'll need to go and rip that out before it works. But let's just double check that the weapons are still in the right locations. Okay. Okay, they did I not rebake the textures properly? 30 FPS. VAT utils. Okay, are we good now? Okay, that does seem better. Okay. Let's maybe I just didn't save it. Okay, yeah, that's attached. That's good. Let's close all these. Okay, so let's make one of our archetypes a caster. Now this is pretty sure this is just straight up not gonna work. Okay, well they're not attacking each other. I need you guys to attack each other. Yeah, there's still fire crotches. Where did I write that code? Yeah, I suppose it's here. Then on change. Whew, excuse me. Yeah. Okay, so what's the flow here? The flow is if they're an actor, if the entity is an actor form, the cast projectile is spawned and attached to the actor. If they change into a static mesh, we hit this code. Which I suppose this should no longer just add. This should call like the add entity actor attachment. Probably. Do I have the avatar data in here? I don't think so. Come on, give it to me. Oh, pilot, you upset me. Avatar data, I don't think I need the mutable version. Good cost. And the attach to socket. I guess I need to do this in the cast projectile this function because I don't know what socket it should be attached to. Yeah, I think I just do this if it's blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think I have to set this up for each actor, which is kind of upsetting, but is what it is. Yeah, otherwise we just destroy it if it doesn't have an interface on it. If there is a new actor, yeah, we only do this here. Add it in there, detach. And then I'm going to need some code in the instance static mesh processor to actually, because I only iterate over the attached components. I don't iterate over attached actors. I need to do that now too. Yeah, and I guess I just need to have the attached data, because now I need to remove it. Or do I just maintain? I think do I just maintain that? It needs to be removed at some point when this gets unequipped and shit, right? Well, or for weapons if they get unequipped. Yeah, so maybe whenever this spawns, I attach it. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was doing. If the caster is an entity, yeah. So this is already going to be. I don't need to switch back and forth to add it. Yeah, it's already going to be added. And what did I do here? Yeah, it's already, we don't need to add it there either. Already going to have been added. But then on cast, I need to remove it. So detach from actor. It might not be on an actor, so that may do nothing. If the caster is an entity, oh, I need to do it here actually. Okay. If this is an entity, it's valid. Hit shoot trajectory, set actor transform. I guess I only need to set the rotation. And I just need to remove. In start location. Yeah, I don't really think I want to do a start location. So let's leave that out for now. And really all we just want to do is remove it from our list of attached actors. That way the instance static mesh actor doesn't pick up on it and keep trying to transform it. And then we can probably get rid of this start location, I think. Anything else to do here in this class? I think this class's life cycle is pretty clearly defined. It spawns, gets attached, and then it gets casted, and then it gets detached. Okay, but now I need the instance static mesh to actually pick up on it. Process entity attachments. Okay, so now I need to do this for not just attached components, but attached actors as well. Probably some more functions I need to create. Do I think this list is going to change during this? No, these are both on the game thread. So I think that should be fine, right? And then I don't think I need to recall spawn here. Do I? Oh, I think I do actually, because when it changes from an actor to an instance static mesh, I do need to attach it. So if I recall spawn there, it just does the same logic. That's good. Yeah, I think that makes sense. There's a new actor. I mean, honestly, call it. Do both, actually. Spawn new actor. The new actor might be null, because that's the avatar. The avatar. Okay, hang on. I think I need to do this on the instigator component. Yeah, that makes more sense. Because if it's the avatar the actor there might be null, so I need to get the entity off of the ability system component, which could always be populated in this context. So I should spawn either way. And if there is no new actor, we just detach. Maybe let's do that first. Detach first. I suppose it doesn't really matter too much. All we're doing is adding it to a map. Okay, I think that looks good. Instant static mesh actor. I think I'm gonna take a quick break and go to the bathroom and grab some more coffee, maybe. Sounds nice. But I think I'm going to keep going for at least another few hours today. I don't have meetings until later, so I'm going to go for a little bit longer this morning and just work later. So yeah, I'm gonna BRB and make coffee. And get some water, take the dogs out, that kind of stuff. BRB. back and we have coffee. All is right in the land. Nice little iced coffee. We have a Tuscan roast espresso with just a touch of caramel sauce and chocolate milk. Yes, chocolate milk. I'm a child. You know, our athletic trainers in high school used to tell us that chocolate milk rehydrated you really well. And I always found that suspicious. Like, why chocolate? I don't know. Like, I would get it more if you just said milk. What, chocolate? Why would that be any better than regular milk? Okay. Let's recap. What I was working on was entity attachments overall. Specifically trying to operationalize it a bit more. Get it into a more reusable place now that I figured out how to get it to work. I need to handle actors. I was handling attached components. But now I need to handle attached actors that may not be... Because like the attached components are just static meshes essentially. And well, I guess now that I think about it, that's not going to be handled in here at all. I need like an attachment processor. Because these aren't going to be able to be put into an instant static mesh. Like the static meshes are. That would make sense, wouldn't it? That would make sense, wouldn't it? Okay. Yeah, I guess... Should I handle that per... I think I should probably just handle that in the actor itself, maybe? No, I should make a new processor for this, like an entity attachment processor. I wouldn't handle the attached components in there because those are taken care of in the instant static mesh. Although it could spawn up ISMs. Yeah, maybe I should have a new processor here. Okay. We have the processor. And I think this would just be a game thread operation. Required entity data, probably. What do I need here? I would want maybe just attachment entity data. Then attachment entity data, attachment data. Would need the subsystem. entity subsystem. There we go. Okay, so we have that. We have that. Bing, bang, boom. Good, good, good. Okay, for each attached actor. For each attached actor, I guess I kind of need to do the same transform thing that's happening in the instant static mesh. So I should probably put that on the attachment entity data as well. Get attachment transform, get bone transform. Okay, copy and paste, copy and paste. Yeah, let's maybe put that in the CPP file. This can be static. Okay, sure. Sure. Why not? Be static as well. Sweet. Okay, so for each attached actor, let me pop these out then. Remove that from here. Goodbye. Goodbye. Get attachment transform, then this becomes you. Attachment entity data, get attachment transform. Good, good, good. Okay. Yeah, this is specifically anim stuff, though. I do need to know what animation is playing, actually. Shit. Okay, I'm dumb. I don't. Why did I think? I mean, those are probably good places for those functions to live, I feel. They still do need to. Yeah. Okay. Why did I? I'm so dumb, man. It's too early for me to be this dumb. I still need to know the animation that's playing, and for that reason, I still need it to be in the instant static mesh actor. Okay. Yeah, why did I think it'd be just because it's not going to be an ISM? That's why I thought that? Okay. Okay, well, scrap that. I really wasn't thinking there. Patholo Leopard. Hi, I popped in on a whim. Wanted to ask what kind of game you are developing. Absolutely, happy to answer. So, I'm working on a combination of 3 different genres into a game. I'm thinking RPG, something like, you know, just like a World of Warcraft type combat with classes and abilities and talents, that kind of thing. Plus a colony simulator. So think something like RimWorld, where you're kind of controlling pawns and telling them what kind of tasks they can do, and they're building, and you kind of build a base up a little bit, and you got to gear up your colonists and potentially multiple colonies throughout the world. You kind of have to defend them from threats that, you know, maybe there's some raids that come and happen. And I have procedural terrain as well. So the world is quite large and goes on for a while, and there's different biomes. Currently only a couple right now. There's different terrain noises, so the terrain is different, and there's just different zones altogether that I'm planning on telling a different story in each one. And I have LLM generated quests. So when you talk to the colonists, right now there's just a button that says generate quest. It won't be like that in the final thing, but I do make a request out to the Gemini AI API, and they generate me a quest. They give me some JSON that I deserialize, and I put into some structs in memory, and then I can use that data to like spawn things for the quest and track completion progress and stuff like that. And then the third genre would be a roguelike, or roguelite. And how I want that to manifest is something like Hades, where, you know, if you die, you start over at level 1. So, I mean, if you could think of World of Warcraft as a roguelike, that's kind of what I'm picturing, right? Warcraft plus Hades is kind of what I'm picturing. So, and each time you play through, you're rather than having a set abilities that you get at each level, like in WoW, you get kind of a choice between random ones each couple levels, right? And so each time you play through the game, same world, your colony's still going to be there, but your character starts over at level 1, and then you can try out a new build the next time. You'll get different random abilities this time. And yeah, that's the kind of game that I'm trying to make here. And so what I'm working on now is an ECS system. I've been working on it for the past several months now. And the reason I want this ECS system is I need a performant way to simulate the entire world, is what I'm hoping for. And I want that because what I feel lacking in other Colony Sim games is the kind of realism of like the world happening when you're not there. Like, I don't want that kind of zone of influence style of Colony Sim where it's like the colony only happens when you're nearby, and when you run away, you know, nothing's really moving. Same with enemies, right? I want there to be enemy colonies as well that you can go and attack if you should so choose. And, you know, if you're sending colonists out to go chop wood, I want them to actually run out there and chop down the trees and go. They have to go find a tree, and I don't want it to just be like only happening when you're nearby, or when you're not nearby, just like have some calculation running in the background, right? For like, oh, you have 3 colonists chopping wood, so that's 30 wood per hour, you know? Like, I don't want, that's not real enough for me, right? Like, I want them to go out in the forest, and if there's wolves in that forest, I want them to get attacked by those wolves. And so this ECS system is hopefully going to accomplish that kind of functionality for me. And we're getting to the very mature part of the ECS system where I'm working on entity attachments. And the entities can either have an actor form, which is like the standard kind of actor with a skeletal mesh and animation instance that you would probably expect from an Unreal Engine game if you've developed in it before. But the entities that are out in the distance that are still rendered on screen, those are vertex animated static meshes. So what that means is, if you're not familiar with it, there's a plugin in Unreal where you can take an animation and a skeletal mesh, and you can bake out all the animation data into a texture for that skeletal mesh, which means that you no longer have to use the skeletal mesh anymore, which is very expensive to render and update every frame. You can now just use an instant static mesh, and you can just run those animations on the GPU, essentially. So basically free, almost free. And it's very, very performant. And you no longer have the expensive skeletal meshes, and they still look very good. There's just a lot of work to do, specifically for things like attachments, right? Like, if you have an entity actor, you can just, you know, attach to a socket. You can attach another actor. There's functions for that built in, but you can't really do that. You can't attach things to an instanced static mesh instance, right? So I kind of have to build that out myself, and I have to, every frame, what I'm doing is kind of updating the position for the attachments based on what animation is currently playing on the GPU. So I'm kind of having to get some of that GPU data. Thankfully, it's in a very nice format for me already. So specifically within that, what I'm working on is attached actors, and consideration now is for fireball projectiles. So those are going to be actors. They're not going to be static meshes because they're going to be FX essentially. So I just need to, every frame, if there's an attachment, update its position to the proper bone that it is attached to, which it's not actually attached. It's just kind of like a fake attachment. I play a lot of games for that realism, like playing Vintage Story versus Minecraft. One of them is a lot more fun, and it wasn't made by Mojang. Vintage Story, is that the game? I've not heard of that one. Interesting. Oh, it looks similar to Minecraft, I see. It looks cool. So yeah, that is the long answer for what I'm working on right now. What kind of game I'm making. Okay, so iterating over my attached actors. Let me get back into the zone here. I need this. I suppose I don't actually... Oh, I am passing the attach info. Yeah, I do need. I need to do it for each one. Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't actually need the member variable here because the map is there. But both work. Both work. Attach info, get attachment transform, attach info. Really just the socket and the offset. Okay. So I should just be able to attach info actor, set actor, location and rotation. Attachment transform. Location, attachment transform, dot rotation. Dot rotator, sure. And I think that's all I need to do there. A lot less work there. Just getting started with programming, learning on my own as a late bloomer. Hey, no shame in that. It's always a great time to learn programming. It'll teach you a lot. Started with Python as baby's first programming language. That's not a baby language. There's no language that's a baby language except for like Scratch. Python is a very, very good language that a lot of people use for a lot of things. Hoping to branch into C++, C# once I understand the overall process more. Yeah, what makes you want to use a different language? I mean, Python's a great language. What are you trying to do with programming that makes you think you need to know C++ or C#? I think I should be good here. Obviously, there's probably going to be something that doesn't work. But... Oh, I need to move this, actually. Oop. Wrong set of brackets. Attach data and anim sequence. Yeah. Yes. Thinking projects. My concern is being able to make chunkier games. Ah, so you want to do game dev, I see. Things like Pygame or Piglet, I assume that's pronounced that way, running a bit slow. And honestly, I like challenging my brain to see where that line is. I see. Yeah, I'm wondering why, if you wanted to do game dev, why wouldn't you have started with something like C# or C++? Or even you could have just started with Unreal Engine blueprints. Yeah. I mean, I think learning multiple programming languages is overall a good thing, so I don't think you made the wrong move or anything. Prismatica! Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate that, mate. What were you guys up to? How was the stream? What What I'm working on here is an entity attachment system that looks pretty cool, honestly. It doesn't look like much right now. But the cool thing is when these guys are green, they're actors, traditional Unreal Engine actors with skeletal meshes and stuff like that. But when they're blue, they're actually vertex animated instant static meshes. So virtually free to render, and the animations are actually calculated on the GPU Prismatica. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here. I think I maybe even watched some of your videos on the subject. Just chipping away at my physical movement system stuff. Yeah, I was watching that. You had a... I really wanted your guy to be on like a unicycle, because that's kind of what it looked like with your debug meshes that you were rendering. That'll be a good little... or like a little guy on a ball, circus, a la circus style. But yeah, if anyone doesn't know Prismatica, he's got like so many good videos on like materials and shaders and stuff like that. I learned a lot, actually. Prismatica, I used your videos to I have this procedural terrain system using procedural mesh components, and why don't I actually show that off, because I just talked about it as well. So it's slightly broken because of 5.5. Thank you, Tim Sweeney. But I was using some of your videos because I wanted to learn more about shaders, and I was actually quite bad at it before. But I wanted to blend the materials together based on different biomes that I have. And I didn't want like 1 giga master ultra fucko material, you know, with like a million different textures and materials in it to blend between. Because like when I add a new biome to the game, I don't want to have to go back to like that master material and like, you know, blend in yet another layer or something like that. So I was trying to figure out a way to do that without having a giga fatty material. And so I was watching a lot of your videos to kind of learn more about that. I ended up getting something to work, which was like rendering not rendering, but like writing out every terrain chunk's like material into like a runtime virtual texture, and then like blending those together. What is happening here? Okay, a breakpoint. Ignore that. Ignore that. Yeah, here's the terrain. And then we got PCG spawning on top of it. This is all runtime generated and, you know, seeded. So every world's different. This is the map. There's my guy right there. And so every color on here is a different zone or biome, right? So if I pop out of here, and it doesn't render the whole world. It just renders kind of like, it's actually kind of like a circle, maybe like about this big. But yeah, like this cyan zone is like right here, and it's got like my swampy terrain noise. And then the green zone here, it would be this zone. And then the red zone would be that one, like sharp mountains and stuff like that. And so I only have, I think maybe like 4 or 5 different terrain noises. And then I only have like 2 different biomes that 5.5 broke. So that's actually, this is supposed to be a meadows biome, so no trees should be here. And it's just rendering both biomes on top of each other. And then you may have seen, I have some, my underwear is showing a little bit here as well. So my mountains, actually, which I think are really cool. So if you think about games like Valheim, right? I take some good inspiration from Valheim. They have procedural biomes as well, in a whole procedural world, and I love that game. It's awesome. But their biomes just kind of like blend seamlessly to and fro. Like there's no like defined zone, right? And so I take a lot of inspiration from a game like World of Warcraft, where there are defined zones, and each zone kind of tells a story. And so I really wanted to create that feel, but with procedural terrain, procedural biomes. And so that's why I have this here. And so mountains are just the edges of each different color. This is actually a Voronoi. What is it? It's like I have a material that does it, and then I just kind of like write to it different colors and stuff. Yeah, so like I use like this, right? And I just take a sample from this material and write it to like a 256 by 256 texture. And then each pixel in that texture represents a terrain chunk. So this world is actually kind of fucking huge. And you kind of see some of the stats up here. Thank you for the follow, mate. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. But yeah, you can kind of see some of the stats up here. One of them is altitude, if you'll notice. And the altitude is actually dictated by the darkness or lightness on the texture here. So like you see like the black is where the ocean is. That's like 0. That's an altitude of 0. Let me actually zoom out a little bit. But some of these brighter zones like get up to like 0.83 as the altitude. It's from 0 to 1. And so I actually have like an altitude blending between each procedural terrain chunk to kind of shift it up or shift it down. And so that's why if I pop out here and I go over to like where the ocean is, ignore that circle, but it kind of like lerps, you know. It's what did I end up doing? It took me like fucking weeks to figure it out, but I ended up figuring out like the how to blend chunks together, not only based on like altitude, but based on like different noises. And it's like a you have to do like a weighted average blend between each neighboring chunk for each vertice. So once I unlocked that, that's when I got all the cool shit going. Yeah, ignore all the mismatched mountains though. These ones look nice. We'll focus on these ones. And so we have the altitude blending, which kind of like raises up some of the world and lowers some of the world to make it even more different. But then I also have, these are essentially splines, right? You can actually see that here. Kind of see the spline shape here. And then for each chunk, I just get the 2 points on the spline that are closest to it. And then I check each vertex's distance to that spline. And then I can, I apply a height curve to it to kind of smoothly blend it. And so that's what creates these mountains. And I just add like a multiplier to it to raise them up out of the world. And then it's also destructible. It doesn't work right now because I changed some things, but I used to have a pickaxe that could lower the terrain. Need to take a second pass at that though. Super cool tech. I have no idea how to start with procedural terrain. Well, I'm actually in doing that kind of material blending side quest. I actually figured out that like if I were to create a texture for each chunk, it's actually way too much fucking memory. And I also lose the height map information. And so I also needed a height map texture for each chunk. I had to bake all my height map data from the Perlin noise and all that blending I just talked about into a texture. And so it was just even more memory and it just wasn't realistic. But I figured out that, I needed the height map information for my landscape auto material because I wanted to blend based on absolute heights, not relative heights. But I was like, you know what? If I actually rewrote my algorithm into a shader, I wouldn't need that memory, right? Because I could just query the algorithm and it would give me the right height. So when you say you don't know how to start with procedural terrain, I feel like you might actually. Like, there's a lot of really good procedural nodes already built in. You know, I'm sure you're familiar with all the noise nodes. So I think you just create a texture, start sampling, and then you know, start writing that to a procedural mesh. I don't know if you're a C++ guy though. But yeah, there's how you do it right there, you know. Vertices, triangles, normals, UVs, colors. You can actually, I actually figured out that what you can do is, from one of your videos, I found the runtime vertex paint. You can actually do that with procedural meshes as well, like on your own. You can, like these colors, these are per vertex colors. So what I'm going to be able to do is like add textures, you know, based on the vertices of the mesh, colors and textures and materials. It's going to be pretty cool. And so I'll have, you know, like maybe you'll have like an explosion, deform the terrain, and then apply a texture to it based on the vertices. Haven't done that yet, but it's possible with this colors part right here. So it'd be a really cool way to, I know you're big draw calls guy, right? I learned from Prismatica, draw calls are not necessarily the devil. Is it draw calls or is it what material complexity or something like that? Operations. I'm a software engineer by trade, so I don't know a whole lot about the GPU, but know plenty about programming. Another follow. Appreciate that, man. Thanks, guys. You can use the vert colors to lerp and stuff. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so much shit you can do with that. I could make Splatoon, a procedural destructible terrain Splatoon. Proc terrain is when I got jealous of console-only projects. The things they get to do with in-memory compression and streaming raster data is nifty. Okay, so wait, are you saying are you saying the PC is not the master race? Hang on, I might need to ban this guy. Hang on. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, those are big words that I didn't understand. Are you saying that the consoles do fancy stuff that PCs don't? Draw calls are evil. Shader complexity is less evil. Okay. Yes. That's what I was trying to say. Fellow software dev doing game dev. Yeah. That's me. I have to go to work later today, but we're kicking that can down the road a little bit. Don't have meetings till later. So. I'll let you get back to work. Need to eat my 3 a.m. nachos. Dude, those are the best fucking nachos. Those are the best nachos. Another cool thing, procedurally destructible trees. Oh god, oh no. Collision, why are you failing me? No, come on. There we go, okay. So what just happened, these are all PCG spawned assets here. So it's all hierarchical instant static meshes. But when the axe came into contact with one of them, it turned into a dynamic mesh component, which is it's a new Unreal Engine thing. That has a lot of really cool shit that you can do with it. And so I actually turned this into a dynamic mesh and then did a Boolean subtraction method to chop out a section of it. That's why I was trying to jump here. So you should actually be able to chop it, like wherever the axe lands, that's where it gets chopped at, right? So if I come over here on the other side, I should be able to chop this down. My animations kind of suck. These are all homegrown animations, but there you go. So I got chopped down. I got some wood in my inventory now. And then patented indie physics happen, and all the collision is still there, right? So I like calculated the collision at runtime as well, and then baked it as a part of the dynamic mesh. And so this will factor into the building system. That doesn't work at the moment. Again, so many of my systems don't work because I've been changing so much for the entity system, but should be able to do some building with that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I'll do like the Valheim, Olive Valheim tree dominoes, which I love. With that. And then, so it's also going to be a Colony Sim game. Dude, my collision is a little bad. I think it's just the animation. My guy like stands up. Come on, bro. Hit the damn tree. There we go. Yeah, it's a little janky at the moment. Still some work needing to be done there, but it's a proof of concept. We technically have the equivalent APIs in Windows 11, technically, but consoles have a few ASICs that we've not seen on PC motherboards yet. Interesting. That's all like super low level shit that I don't understand, but it sounds cool. So yeah, what I've been working on is an Entity ECS system. Roll 20-sided dice to surpass trees' dodgeability. Yeah, dude, those trees, you got to keep an eye on them. They're shifty. But yeah, I've been doing different like animation blending and stuff. So like he like stands up like before he should. Yeah, so he kind of like, there's certain parts of the animation where I turn on and off the axe collision. So I think that's a little wonky at the moment. But yeah, ECS system, which is just kind of like an efficient way to render a massive amount of entities. I was using Mass Entity which is a built-in Unreal Engine entity system, but found it very hard to work with. Didn't really fit my needs, so I rolled my own, and I've been working on that for the past several months. And so this world will have a bunch of colonists spawned into it that you can kind of recruit, and you can give them tasks. Like they can go chop trees, they'll go find food, they'll build you know, any blueprints you place down in the world. And then there's going to be some enemy colonists as well, and enemy colonies that you can go attack, and that'll attack you. And yeah, you have like abilities, and like there's like talent trees, and you can see all my ripped WoW textures and sounds and stuff like that. And then what I'm wanting, and this is what I was saying before, is like I want each zone to have like a kind of like a story to tell. And so what I have working are LLM generated quests. And so right now, just what that means is there's a button you can click when you talk to a colonist, and you can generate a quest from them. And each colonist has like an AI generated like background in adulthood. They're just like generated offline, so they're just saved into a data table, and I just kind of pick one whenever a colonist gets spawned. But they have like they have like a class and they have like a personality. So it could be like someone who's hostile and dumb, or someone who's like wrong and resolute, or something like that. And then I send all that data off to the LLM, and I actually dump my entire game's item database in there too, because the Gemini API has a 2 million context window now. So I'm just planning to literally put everything that happens in game into a prompt, and I'm going to see what the LLM comes up with. And right now what I have working is it actually serializes that into a JSON format pretty reliably. And I can deserialize that JSON into structs in Unreal Engine. And I can actually use that to like spawn things for the quest and track completion progress. And I can do quest chains and stuff like that. So that'll be kind of what gets you going out into the world and stuff, instead of just staying in your nice defendable base. My first time going for game dev for environment design. I'm 23 with no past experience. What would be your best tips for someone finding a career in this field? Yeah, I'm probably not the best person to ask for that, because I kind of don't, like, I'm a college dropout, right? Like I'm now a software engineer at a FANG company, but my suggestion would not probably be the best advice, because mine would just be like, do it on your own, figure it out, like make it happen. Because that's like, I dropped out of college because I got tired of paying for teachers to teach me things that I was already teaching myself. And it was actually World of Warcraft that got me into game design and programming in general. Like, I wanted to play WoW with my friends. And if you ever heard someone talk about WoW and you don't know what WoW is, it sounds like they're talking a foreign language. So I felt really left out when I was a kid. And my parents wouldn't pay for a WoW sub. So I started playing on private servers. But then my friends wouldn't play with me because they thought it was sketchy. And so I figured out how to make my own private server based on like a lot of Googling and stuff. And that's where I wrote like my first line of code. It was figuring it out that way. So I guess my advice would be like, figure out something that interests you, that's motivating to you, like a project, right? And you said you're going for environment design. So yeah, I mean, open up a game engine, and yeah, I would say just pick one. I mean, probably Unreal Engine or Unity, or like the popular ones, Godot as well. You know, I would just pick one. Get you some assets. Check out the Humble Bundle. You can get like a ton of cheap assets on the Humble Bundle. So yeah, I would just get in there and just start making maps and stuff. And I have, if you know, speaking of environment design, John Stats, he was the main dungeon developer for Vanilla WoW, and he wrote a book called The WoW Diary. And how he got his start was he was making Quake 2 maps. So he was just using the Quake 2 map editor, and that's how he learned level design, environment design. And so you could even do something like that, find a game that has like a map creator as a part of it, and just start making stuff, you know, just try to make a world, fill it with lore, use that lore to give you ideas for environment design, start creating a portfolio. You know, you got to have something to show. I think that's the way I go. You know, don't go the traditional way of like, you know, go to college, get a degree, get a job. My style is, you know, teach yourself, build a portfolio of projects, and then get a job. But yeah, maybe not necessarily the greatest advice. Big inspiration was Marvel Rivals for the map and environment. I've heard some criticism of the Marvel Rivals maps. I've not played it, so Borderlands, a long time fave. Yeah, Borderlands is good. Yeah, maybe take a look at some of those environments and figure out why you like them so much and why they're good, and start trying to do that on your own. Yeah, I'm no game dev. Like, I'm not actually a professional game dev by any means. I'm just a software engineer trying to do it. So someone who is in the game dev industry already would probably have better advice for you as to how to actually get into the career. But that's my advice based on my experience. There's also available projects on online mod like Skyblivion. Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, for you to engage in online mod projects. Yeah. Yeah, modding I think is how a lot of people get into it. Some of the maps feel ripped from Overwatch. They look sick. Yeah, well, not broke, don't fix it. So yeah, this is the terrain. It's all like procedural. So this isn't actually any there's no design in here other than me designing the PCG graphs for each biome. And what I'm planning to do is, like, I want the colonies to be rendered through the entire world, which is massive, right? Like, if I pop out here and I look here. Like the only thing that's actually rendered right now is like this circle. And if I zoom out, you can see like how big the world is. And I actually want there to be colonies all over the world, like doing things, whether you're there or not. And so that's what the entity system is going to help me do. Like when you send your colonists out to go chop wood, I want them to actually have to go find a tree to chop and chop it down. And if there's a wolf in that forest, I want that wolf to attack them. And I want your colonists to maybe die. Yeah, sorry, not sorry, but it'll be a lot of fun. And that's the RimWorld inspiration there. I'm in the game industry, though, as a UI UX designer. Most of my friends got jobs from having a large or good-looking backlog of experience at projects. Nice. So not the traditional kind of job career path, which is college. Good to hear. I got recommended to do a game jam to help with the portfolio. Yeah, I've still not done one of those myself. I've only been game deving for about 2 years now. Knew nothing about it before then. Definitely a good way to get introduced. The game jam projects, most often than not, isn't really that impressive as they just lack a solid ground, but it helps a lot in experience, both practical and social. Yeah, that seems to be the take I get from it as well. Although I'm kind of selfish, like I want to work on my own shit, you know, like definitely can help develop skills. But I've always kind of been like a lone wolf type of thing when it comes to free time projects and whatnot. So what's the point of the game? Survival? I guess I would call it survival light. I don't think I'm gonna have like, I think there's too many survival games out there already. It's not gonna be like hardcore, not hardcore, but like, you know, you're not gonna die if you don't eat enough food, and you're not gonna start from zero, right? It'll probably be more of like a World of Warcraft type start. But, you know, it's just a colony sim. There will be, you know, a story to it, and there's lore to it as well that I've typed out a little bit. But the point of the game is to just, it's kind of a sandbox is how I'm envisioning it. So if you've played RimWorld, they call it a story generator because it's like literally just entirely random events happen, and they get pretty funny and pretty memey, and it's all based around like your colonists that you have and their personalities and how they interact with each other and how they respond to the different events that unfold. And so the point in RimWorld is to like get off the planet, like that's the end goal. But like I never play RimWorld to beat it. Like I play for the journey. And so when you ask like what's the point of the game, the point of the game is just to create your own story, kind of. It would be what I say. But defining the genre for this, I always say like it's an RPG plus colony sim, and then I also want it to be a roguelite because, you know, why not increase the scope more? But I'm thinking a combination of something like World of Warcraft, RimWorld, and Hades is the kind of game that I want to play, that I haven't seen built before, so that's what I'm going for. How hard would it be to add Steam Workshop into a game? Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea how hard that is. Yeah, there's my underwear. 5.5 broke my algorithm somehow. Don't know why, but I upgraded. These used to line up perfectly, but now they don't. And one cool thing I like about how I built this is like these white dots on here are what I call zone entrance chunks. So here's one right here. And so you can see it's like a break in the mountains, and it's like how you get from one zone to another. And I think it creates this like pretty cool exploratory gratification type feeling. Oh no. Post-tick component update. Okay, we're good. We're still good. But I'm going to run over to this zone entrance chunk. And it is the zone that I came from, so it's not going to be that... oh, shit. Okay. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, procedural terrain. Goodbye. Still a lot of work to do on it, obviously. I was working on the entity system before I was so rudely raided by Prismatica. I actually super appreciate that, though. Yeah, so let's I'll kind of show this off a little bit. So here's the entity system working. And so they're all, when they're colored, oh boy, already failing, are we? Caster is null. That's okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I did that. I did that. I do this. I inline this and make it look pretty. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. We have to rebuild now, though. But I have ability system components for every entity. So if you're an Unreal Engine person, you probably know what that is. That's the gameplay ability system. If you're not an Unreal Engine person, what that is essentially the gameplay ability system all goes through the ability system component. And it's kind of how you execute abilities, and you can apply gameplay effects. And you can kind of do a lot with it, but it's primarily just made for like attacks and abilities. And like I use some effects for like losing food and losing sleep and calculating that stuff. And there's modifiers and periodic effects and all this stuff. And so I have one of those spawned for every single entity, pretty much. But they're put on a proxy actor. They're not actually put on the actual actor. And that allows them all to like do combat with each other. And so when they're blue, they're actually instant static meshes being rendered and animated on the GPU. But when they're like green or red, they turn into actual actors, which have like all the high quality stuff on it. And then I just try to like match up the animations and stuff. Still a lot of work to do. Like my weapons don't get cleaned up properly, as you can see. And there's like, I got like a 1-frame stutter, a 1-frame jitter when they transform back and forth between static mesh and skeletal mesh. But the point for me was these fireballs should be... Oh, that one should not be still attached. Kind of hard to tell with this many going on. Those WoW sound effects, they are indeed. We use a lot of... I figured out how to like... there's this program called wow.export. And you can export sounds and textures and stuff from them. But you can also export animations. And then I figured out how to get those animations... I had to use Blender to do it. And then there's like a plugin for Blender. And then I figured out how to import them into Unreal Engine. And then I retargeted all the WoW animations to my dummy test skeleton. And so those are my placeholder animations. But it's kind of messing me up a little bit because the WoW animations are at 24 FPS and all my other ones are at 30 FPS. And usually that wouldn't be a huge deal. But when I bake them to a texture to use as a vertex animated texture, I need them all to be the same frame rate. I have to pick a frame rate. And so some of the attack abilities are going to look a little weird. Like you see how he like pauses a little bit at the end there? That's because there's 6 missing frames. And like you see that attachment didn't work correctly there either. So yeah, still some work to do there. Let's just get a few guys. I want 2 guys attacking each other. That's what I want. No, those are 2 the same. Those are 2 the same. 2 different factions, please. There we go. Okay. Okay, hang on. Stop. Is that attached properly? That looks like it is. Oh, nice. Oh, that's actually looking so good. And so doing that right there, like attaching a VFX to a certain bone on a skeletal mesh, firing at you'd probably use like a projectile component. That's all very easy to do, like out of the box with actors, but it takes a lot of work to do that when you don't have a skeletal mesh and you don't have an actor. And so I actually have to iterate over all the attached actors or the static meshes. Like this guy should have one in his arm, but it's not working properly. And every frame I update the position, and I have to sample the currently playing animation. It's not actually playing because it's rendering a texture on the GPU, but I kind of like de-encode what frame rate it's at based off of that. And then I kind of like ask the animation like, hey, if this were playing on an actual skeletal mesh right now, where would the bone be? And then I have to like accumulate all the parent bone transforms and then apply that to the position that the entity's in. And then every frame set either the actor or the static mesh to that location to kind of like attach it, right? So that's what's happening here. It doesn't look like much, but it is. Actually, his dagger is still being attached too. And then I actually built like the entities have like a location chunking system. And so I split the world up into chunks, which is just like, it's just math really. There's no like actual chunk, but I place all the entities as a part of that chunk. And so when I do like a collision check, like you'll see this here, I can use my Blizzard ability. You can see I actually I grab all the entities in that current chunk and potentially neighbor chunks based on how far it is. And I actually just like iterate through them. And yeah, yes, that's the Blizzard noise. But you can see he's a colonist, so he's not going to attack me back. But you can see I'm actually dealing damage to him there. So there's a collision system, kind of like they don't actually have collision turned on for them at all. Just iterating and doing a distance check. But that's how I do like the fireball collision when they don't have actual collision turned on. Because when you turn on collision for an instant static mesh, and you have to move the instances of that static mesh every frame, it's like literally ungodly expensive. So I use a lot of Zelda music sound effects in my project as well, so I get it. Dude, I just figured out that you can play Ocarina of Time on the Switch, and I've been having a great time with that. They have tons of old games on there now. Awesome. They have like a NES, SNES, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo 64 emulator built into the Switch now, which I didn't know. That's been fun. Have you seen Dead Island 2's new skeleton model? No, I haven't. I feel like I've probably seen gameplay of it. The bones are the real skeleton, and the flesh just flops off when you punch it and hit it with how hard. Yeah, I think I did see that, like the dismemberment and stuff like that. I would like to get some dismemberment working for my stuff as well, but that's kind of a stretch goal. With Chin AI, surely the game can be created on the fly. Yeah, well, go ahead and try that and let me know how it goes. Don't think we're quite there yet. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like you can tell the character to build a tent, it'll build a tent. I do intend to have that working, but that's they call that function hooking. And so you can actually give the AIs now functions to call for specific things. I'm probably just going to do it in JSON, even though the code for that doesn't exist. Oh, well, no, you still have to have the code to do that. But you can like say I have code to like build all this stuff, right? Maybe I can actually, can I build things on this terrain? No, I can't. But I mean, like I have all the commands and the code to like build things. And so I do plan to come up with some logic for like having a colony simulate itself without having a person controller. And yeah, you could ask the LLM to like, hey, what should the colony do? You know, like what kind of projects should the colony build? Should they build defenses? Should they build a farm? You know, and then the LLM can probably queue up a series of initiatives to do. Yo, I didn't know that. I played Ocarina of Time last time when I was 9. I'm 34 now. Gotta try it out as well. You fucking do. It's not free, which sucks. You have to buy, it's a part of their Nintendo Online Plus expansion pack, which is $50 a year. But you get access to like all the old Marios, a bunch of Kirby games, Smash Bros, Mario Party, like all the old good stuff. So if you pay for that, you can then play those games. Highly recommend if you haven't played it since you were 9. Majora's Mask is on there as well. All like A Link to the Past and Minish Cap and Zelda 1 and 2 are on there as well. Yeah. What is this? What is happening here? Oh yeah, I know what this is. We can ignore this for now. But it does look like my fireball code worked. Although I did see a fireball attached when it shouldn't have been. It spawned 10 guys here. I thought they canceled those old games. Did they reverse that decision? I have my Switch right here. I mean, oh, I'm in like the middle of a tunnel right now. Hang on. There you go. There you go. It's there. I swear. Yeah, if you you can just open up your Switch, and I think there's like a Nintendo Switch Online button. If you click that, you can like browse all the old games that they have. You can check them out. But yeah, let's spawn a few more guys. Let's spawn like 10 guys here. Hang on, I need to go back to my other spawner because I'm spawning them all at the same position now. So we have the EQS graph to like spawn people in. There we go. You guys should be using fireballs. There you go. And so they all have state trees too that I tick in a background thread as a part of my ECS system. And they have this logic for like choosing an ability. They don't actually get rendered when they're behind me. But if I turn, like, see, they're not there now. They're just completely gone. But if I turn, there they are. So we have some frustum culling as well happening. I need to do that with all that other stuff. Yeah, so what scenario happened that got that fireball, like, stuck? What would have happened there? Okay, so the life cycle is I spawn the fireball, I attach it. If there's a skeletal mesh, that means there's an actor, so I just attach it the normal way. The WoW attack sounds like some kind of Pavlovian call. As I react immediately when I hear it. Yeah, you should hear my wolf. I use all the wolf sounds. Yeah. And then like the fireball ability is the same as well, and my heal ability. Uh-oh. Okay, well, I found a bug. I found a bug. Source component is null. Apply damage effect components, source component. Why are you null? Where's this happening from? Happening from heal effect actor. Okay. This is happening from blueprint. Playing as a healer, that is something you hear a lot. Yeah. I never really played a healer, so I do intend to have like the Holy Trinity in my game. And I would love it to be multiplayer. It's not quite, it's like half-ass multiplayer right now. Not fully working, but always kind of wondered like what makes healing fun. Because I never got the hook. Right. It just seems... I like tanking and I like DPSing. I'm kind of wondering, like, does the healing mechanic overall need a revamp? Or does it need a switch up? Let me open up that heal effect actor. And like... Because my game, like, it's not like WoW in that... Your cursor is attached to the camera, so you don't have like a free cursor. Oh, source component is null. True. All right, so it's more like New World. Oh my god, and it's broken, so it doesn't even heal me. Deal damage. Maybe I don't have the... Let's check out the... No, not that one. My gameplay ability base? Yes. So I need to check out what the damage class is here. I have a feeling it's not tagged correctly. Oh yeah, this is going to happen for a lot of my entities. Hang on. Skip. Okay. I gotta... Hang on. Abandoned ship. Okay. Spawn 0. Okay. What is my damage effect class here? It's just... Okay, that's what I figured. It's not tagged properly. Okay, so... What I need to do here... Ability system, abilities, heal... Heal ability. damage effect. Now, I have different element types that I add as gameplay tags. Ability system, effects. Do I have a heal? I don't think I have one for heal. I have regen health. Yeah, so I need to, let's spell damage. Duplicate that. We'll call this heal damage. I know that sounds weird, but these are damage effects, and a heal. There is already one with heal damage. Okay. Heal damage. Are you tagged? You are tagged with a heal. Why are you doing this then? You're just not added to. Yeah, you're not added properly. That's why. Okay, so that should fix that. Well, now I'm getting healed for 0. Excellent. I wonder if that's because I'm full health. Resource control and managing, I guess. There's a game called Mini Healer that I adore, as you basically just play as a healer. Interesting. That just sounds like... And so, do you like managing the resource? Because you kind of have to manage your team's resources as well, in that you manage their health. But I guess you... Because I never found that more fun than dealing damage to something. And I'm wondering if you played a game like New World, where the healing is more... it's more collision-y. Like it's just like you don't click on a unit frame and then press a heal button. You have to aim a heal and hit your target, kind of, for the most part. And then there's like little AoE ones you use on the ground. If you played New World, I'm interested to hear your take on that kind of healing system. And which, by the way, talking about sound effects, New World, dude, the sound effects in that game blow my fucking mind. They're so good. It's the sound effects make gathering so goddamn fun. It's insane how good they are. Insane. Okay, so why is the heal not... actually, I think I may know why. I recently changed all my ability system stuff around. Yeah, it's because the min and max damage aren't there. Min heal, there we go. Heal ability. So a heal is just a damage with a negative number on it. There we go. Now I'm getting healed. Okay, that's fixed. Back to the entity attachment system. I mean, I think it's pretty good actually. I just need to get my animations all in the same frame rate. I'll have to do that off stream. I have to figure out if I can like add an additional 6 frames onto my ripped WoW anims. Because I'm kind of blocked on that now. Like, they're obviously not attached correctly, but I really need those animation frame rates to match up to make sure they're attached properly. Played both Terra and New World. Okay, so Terra had the same combat where you aim the heals. I enjoy it, but they rarely did anything special with it, so I felt like it could have just stayed as UI selection healing like most MMOs do. Yeah, I mean, I have felt like healing hasn't really evolved that much, right? That's kind of what I was getting at when I said, like, does healing need a revamp? New World soundscape is hella awesome. Yeah, dude. I mean, the crack when you're mining a node, oh, you can hear it echo in the background, and like, it sounds different if you're near mountains than if you're in like a grasslands. And you can also hear from a distance, like way off into the distance, it has a really good, like, muffled, echoey sound effect when someone else does it. Probably my favorite part of the game. Yeah, me too. I mean, when they did that like soft re-release, I just went back and played it just for that. Leveled up to like 40, and just went around gathering and shit. I enjoyed it, man. There's definitely some things to learn from that game, both do's and don'ts. One of the big gripes with that game on launch was like, people complained that they were just running all the time. There were no mounts at the time. There are mounts now. But they complained that they were just running all over all the time. And the quests in the game were like, go here, kill 6 of these things. Go here, loot 3 chests. And so it's like, yeah, when you go there, it'll take you 5-10 minutes to get out there. But then you spend 2 minutes collecting 3 chests, and then you have to run to the next place. So like, yeah, the ratio isn't right, you know? And it's like, I feel like they could have just made it go kill 20 things in that area. Go loot 10 chests, right? And that would have immediately remedied some of the issue. You know, maybe travel time is still an issue at that point. I had fun traveling because I just gathered along the way. I love having an overview of combat or situations, and I feel healers usually fit that role. Yeah. I come from an RTS and strategy background, so I think maybe that's some kind of connection to it. Yeah, definitely that's like a management type thing. And that'll be, it's kind of an interesting problem to solve when you have like a, because one of the things I don't like about WoW is how far zoomed out you can be. I actually don't like that. Also don't like the minimap. I think minimaps are bad. I'm a minimap hater. Because it takes you out of the game. It takes you out of the world. But like, if you ever go back and play like vanilla WoW or even just retail WoW, like zoom your camera into the player more to have more of a this perspective, like my character, where it's like right over the shoulder. And you just see the world so much differently. Like when you're zoomed out, you're looking, it's almost like you're playing an ARPG, right? You're just top down. And I get, like I do it too. I get why you do that. It's more advantageous to see all the way around your character, see what's behind you. You can survey the landscape better that way in regards to your player. And you can have, like what you're saying, have more of an overview of combat that way. But when you're down over your character, it's a little more chaotic, which can be fun. But even when you're just running around, you see the world like so much differently. Like I challenge you to play WoW that way if you haven't, and you will see zones in a new light. Like you've seen the same zones for like 2 decades now. Zoom into your character a bit, and you'll start looking at the landscape quite a bit differently, because you're actually going to see a lot more of it now. You're not just looking top down. You can actually see the horizon, and you can see the mountains in the distance, the towns in the distance and stuff like that. I feel like it gets you down into the game a lot more and like connects you to the game, and it becomes more of an actual world and less of a like ARPG type arcade game almost. Like ARPGs are arcade games, right? Can we agree on that? They're fun. I'm not saying they're not fun, but they're just arcade. They're not worlds. And it sucks because when I see things like PoE 2 or like Diablo 4, love those games. But I always want to be down in the world more. I want to experience it from the character's perspective. Let's spawn 500 entities. Let's see what happens. A little laggy. Let's go full screen. Give me a stat BS on here. Yeah, the fireballs are by far my biggest bottleneck right now. Yeah, 8, 9, 10 FPS. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. Let's go. If we go no fireballs, no projectiles at all, actually. What's our frame rate drop down to? Give me a stat unit as well. Oh yeah, max ability count. That's fine. We're gonna exceed the 1000. Yeah, when there's no projectiles, what am I getting now? 20 FPS. That's actually slower than I would have expected. Oh, I should get rid of that processor. Well, no, that shouldn't be running there. Now we're up at like 30 FPS. God, they just mob deep, don't they? Look at that. I have animation budgeting on, so they end up looking like live shows a little bit. What are you doing? You're stuck. He's stuck. His state tree's broken. Your little fire buff here. Uh-oh, my fire sound's not working. I should be playing a fire sound when I hit him. Okay, might profile that a little bit. I bet my attachment logic is probably... I could probably skip the ones that are dead. That might be an easy optimization to make. Let me turn on my trace channels here. I agree. There was an add-on some years ago that was called Action Cam or something. I think that was actually built into the game. I think there's just a mode you can toggle It did put your camera into a third-person perspective, which made everything a lot more immersive. This is why I play those games, but for MMOs, I wouldn't want that immersion. As immersion isn't the selling point of an MMO to me. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely trade-offs to it. I think you just kind of have to, like, if you build the MMO with that in mind, like, you have to keep it in mind. Right? Like, you can't just, like, take an MMO and apply that to it without considering the rest of the game, for sure. But like even New World, you were definitely down in the world a lot more. What that means is like you can't have as big of fights. I think that's one consideration you have to make. One, you can't make enemies that big because in WoW you have like Ragnaros, which is like massive, and like if you were down over your character, you would just see orange. Like you wouldn't actually see Ragnaros at all. So that is a consideration you have to make. And then yeah, you can have 40-man raids in WoW because you have that top-down perspective, and you can have that overview of combat, as you say. But with like a third-person over-the-shoulder type camera, I think you have to have less things in combat. You just can't keep track of it. Okay, let's we're gonna start a trace here. We're gonna see what the bottleneck is here. Yeah, we're like, I used to get like 30 frames in a situation like this, and this is like worst case scenario. 500 entities all in combat, all on screen. Yeah, this is worst case scenario here. It's actually kind of crazy this even works in any regard. Okay, that's a pretty good enough trace. A lot of things are dying, so the frame rate is trending up because of that. Stop the trace, stop the game. Okay, let's take a look at this bad boy. Okay, here we go. A sea of red. What the frick? Go away, ad. Okay, now the first frames are going to be dominated by spawning, probably. Yeah, the entity spawner. So let's grab a later frame. What's yeah, we're rocking like 13, 14 FPS. The instant static mesh actor, yeah, okay. So we're taking like 13 milliseconds, 13 ms there. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, and then the ability system. Dude, the melee auto attack takes 1 millisecond to execute. I got to figure out a way to chop that down a bit. That's a little much. Post gameplay effect executes 750 nanoseconds. My state tree processor took 121 milliseconds on the background thread. Yeah, I may need to, I'm going to throw some scope trace markers. I'm going to copy, here we go. Copy that. I want to throw this into process entity attachments. And that'll give me a little bit better breakdown. Well, is it? Because it's gonna like, I'm gonna do this on like a per. It's gonna do this on a per entity basis. But actually, that probably wouldn't give me a great breakdown. It's just gonna be a lot of little tiny things. If I refactored it, I could do it all at one go. To figure out like how much extra that's causing. I mean, I guess I'll keep that there just to see. But it's not going to look great. Okay, let's run the same situation again here. Start the trace, full screen. Gotta go full screen because the editor widgets picking when not full screen take up a lot of bandwidth. Okay. Okay, yep, I know about that. That's fine. Okay. That's a good enough sample. I just need a small one. Why do I have a breakpoint there? Don't care about that. Okay. Now let's take a look at this. How different do we look here? Yeah, just a bunch of little things. I wonder, let me see here. It shouldn't have collision on it. It shouldn't have collision turned off. I really wish I could do this on the background thread. That would be ideal. And they should all be the instant static meshes. Set up ISIM components, set collision enabled, cast shadow, simulate physics. Yeah, I mean, I turned all the... Oh, maybe I should turn the tick off? Is that gonna make any difference here? What are we taking? Yeah, like 13, anywhere from like 12 to 14 milliseconds. It looks like. Is this any difference here? I feel like I'm not noticing one. Yeah, I feel like the answer is no. Uh, 17. That one was even more in that frame. I guess their ticks would show up on a different track. Wouldn't show up right there. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this is worst case scenario, right? And then maybe I just don't even do attachments if they're far enough away. Like the attachments have a radius to them as well. Because I mean, 500 entities all in view is kind of a lot. And so let's get a trace. Let me just rip out all that code. We'll get a trace without the attachment stuff. Yeah, let's just comment all of it out, essentially. Okay. Tracing. I mean, honestly, it's not that much better. I mean, it is better. It's maybe like 10 frames better. It wasn't until I went like full screen. Oh, dude, look at how much different that is. Took 3 milliseconds instead of like 13. Grab like one of the bad frames here. Still only took 5 milliseconds. Okay, so it effectively like triples. It like triples the amount of time the instant static mesh actor takes. Okay. Okay, so this is not as realistic as they thought. Now there is another way to do this that I did before, where you can bake, like right now I'm just baking the skeletal mesh animations to the skeletal mesh, to a static mesh version of the skeletal mesh, and creating bone weight textures for that, like baking it into a texture that way. But you can also do that with other static meshes. Like you can bake an animation to the mace that I have equipped, and if you specify a socket, it will bake in the bone weight information to a texture for where that should be if it were on that hand. And I could get out of doing this tick stuff that way. But the downside there, and I discussed this before, but the downside there is that you have to offset it based on where it's attached. So here's the original mace, and there's the origin, that's the attach point as well. And I actually have to, like, this is where in the default pose, that's where the mace is when it's attached to the main hand. And so I had to actually create a second static mesh asset to capture that before I baked it into a texture, the animation into the texture for this static mesh. And so if I wanted it equipped in the offhand, I also have to do this but opposite, and I did it manually. I didn't want to have to do that for every single weapon. Every single static mesh weapon would need one of them. I could create tools to do that for me, and that would help with my performance because I'm not actually changing the location of anything. Like I wouldn't need to iterate anymore in my instant static mesh actor. So I can still do that, and that may be what I need to do eventually, which is kind of sad because I really didn't want to have to maintain that many assets, right? Even if I have tools to automatically do the offset transforms and stuff. I think I can go into my... Do I still have that working in here? Yeah, so that's what's going on here. So I don't actually have to iterate. And it's attached to the wrist right now, but that's just because I didn't do the socket offset when I baked it. I suppose that would also get around my frame rate issue. My animation frame rate issue mismatching. Ugh, I really don't want to have to do that though. It's such a pain. It's such a pain. I still need this other code for like attached actors, like VFX stuff. So I still will need this. Man, so what would the workflow be? Let's think through a hypothetical workflow for that, because essentially what I usually have to do, there's this little util, community utils. We run that. Now I have to plug in the skeletal mesh. I have to plug in the mace, but I have to plug in the pivoted one. So I guess I would need to update this code to like take this, calculate the pivot, create a static mesh asset at runtime, or not at runtime, but in the editor. And then in here, I also need to run this once for each socket that I want to attach to. And then I need to pass in the new texture as well. That one. I mean, yeah, I could manage all that. I could override this data asset and add some new fields to it to capture like all the equipment. I could actually end up reading it from my data tables that my weapons are in. And then I could, you know, create all the textures, and I would have to like do all that offsetting, right, for where it's supposed to be attached to. And I would just have to I guess I would just have to rerun it anytime I added a new weapon to the data table or new equipment as well. Which I don't really have any equipment assets, just weapons. It's like I have all these animations here. I have 31 animations. It's doable. It's just kind of a pain. And then what? I would still need an instant static mesh to spawn all the maces onto. And then I would need to update the location of that. Ugh. I would still need to update the location every frame, right? But doesn't it even actually save anything? I mean, maybe the transform calculations, but like how much of that... how much of the bandwidth is taken up by the transforms? By calculating the transforms rather than setting them. Is there a way to... Is there a way to like have two stat? No, probably not. Yes. So would that actually save me anything? Would that actually save me anything? Let's re-enable this. Let's just use a dummy transform in here. Because, like, yeah, I am having to, I guess, it's somewhat expensive to aggregate all the parent bone transforms, because when I query for like where this hand bone is during a certain frame of the animation, I get the bone relative space. So I have to like multiply it by this bone, by this bone, by this bone, all the way to the root bone, which is like the pelvis or whatever. So I suppose that that can get expensive, and I'm doing that for every entity, every frame. Yeah, I mean that's going to take a toll eventually. Okay. Let's just feel this out. I mean, yeah, it's like somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. Yeah, let's actually run a trace. Okay. We got some data. Okay, show me where it hurts. Yeah, I mean that's a lot. It's a lot less. It's still like thrice or a third, not thrice, a third of tickable game objects. What's ticking? What's ticking for 8 milliseconds here? Frame sync time. Were we actually GPU bound here? I wasn't actually looking. Unity move to processor. Yeah, that makes sense. What is this stuff? Get gameplay tag parents. This is, what is this like? Might be some animation instances that are ticking or something. New AI perception system. I'm not even using that. Why are you ticking? Okay, so yeah, there would definitely be an advantage to doing that. Even if I still have to update an ISM transform every frame, I would get about 10 milliseconds per frame. So it's definitely worth it to do that. Definitely worth it to still do that flow. Yeah, and I don't think that there's a better way to get the bone transform. Like, I don't think it's like cached or whatever. Now I could cache it myself for every frame, for every animation. That's a lot of data in memory though. Is it though? Is it? Because it's just transforms. Like, how many bits is a transform? Unreal Engine, how many bits is a transform? Transform 48 bytes, this guy's saying. $48 bytes for a transform. Okay. So what's like, give me like my worst. Well, I should have the total amount of here, right? It should be whatever the last number here is. Okay, so in frame, let's do this calculation. In frame, I have 1,782 frames for total for all my animations. So let's times that by 48. So that's 85,000 bits. So divide that by 1024, 83 kilobytes. Okay, that's nothing. That's nothing. 85 kilobytes, nothing. Okay, we can do that. That's not a lot, you know. That's nothing. Why was I even worried? Why was I even worried? We're good. We're good. Did I do that math right? I had that many frames. And then I need to store transform per frame. Yeah, dude, that's nothing. That's tiny data. So I could do that. I could pre-cache. Yeah, that might be what I do next. Cache all the bone transform data. Because then it's going to be the same. Right? Because the only thing that the texture is doing that essentially for me, right? It's just storing it in a different format that's way fuckier, right? Let's be honest, storing data in a texture is a little fucksy wucksy. You know, Prismatica, you know, he has a mind for that. He lives in that world. I don't. I live in this world where I get to use data structures. I feel like everything's going to be on the GPU in the future anyway. I feel like we're already trending there, right? Like I'm trying to do a lot of my animations on the GPU, like in 5.5 PCG, you can now spawn PCG points on the GPU, which is fucking crazy. How long until we get collision on the GPU? You know what I'm saying? It's everything is technically possible to run on the GPU. Like I feel like GPUs are the future. And I'm sure there will be some like, I'm imagining if I was Tim Sweeney and I was thinking about Unreal Engine 6, I would be like, let's create an interface between code and GPU, and like compile code to GPU, like to HLSL essentially. And I'm sure you will need to write code in a specific way, I'm sure, but that's what I would try to do. And then you can just fucking run the whole game on the GPU. Oh man, I'm getting a bunch of work emails. They can wait. They can wait. I should be getting off to work now, though. I should be going now. I should be responsible. I should be responsible. Yeah, but I think maybe pre-caching the bone transform data is what I should do. Yeah, and then I won't even need to do all the fucky wucky baking. Fucky wucky baking. Let's see, who's doing Unreal Engine? Who is doing Unreal Engine stuff? Can we find anyone? What about just game dev? Let's send you guys off to Brightside. Brightside movement. Okay, yeah. So thanks everyone for stopping by. Huge thank you to Prismatica for the raid as well. Love that guy. Because of him, I now say Thingo a lot. And Skeletal as well. But yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. I enjoyed it today. Should be streaming tomorrow at some point. So hopefully I'll see you then, and we continue work on the entity attachment system and on the colony simulation stuff overall. So yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.